Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe, and you're checking out Weekend at Gabe's, and thanks for checking out this latest episode. While you're here, also follow us on these social medias at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. Thanks for checking us out. We have served you everything that you need to know and what you need in life to shout out the great Little Kim. All right, we're going to reset. You're checking out Weekend at Gabe's with Weekend Gabe and The Real Sam Crane. Don't forget to give us a follow on these social medias at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and at The Real Sam Crane. And joining us now from somewhere in the world, hopefully in Chicago, we'll find out soon, but friends of the show, a group that I've been following for as long as I can remember. I'm a huge fan of them since I was at Columbia. I had them on the show when Mixed Signals Volume 1 dropped in 2010. They've always been tremendously friendly, and fast forward 11 years, they're back with their new album, Growth Chart. It's a pleasure to introduce WisdomUno and Jay, or JustJay, to the show on Weekend at Gabe. Good evening, fellas. How are you?
What's up, y'all?
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
I am so glad to see you guys. Wiz, I don't think I mentioned this at all to you, but I was harassing Jay several years ago about returning because I would play the We Jetted Sunday record on my Sunday morning show I was doing at Loyola, and then I was just like, 73, and I was like, yo, when you guys coming out? And they were like, yeah, we're kind of disbanded at the moment, so. It's almost like in the busy signal when you call someone, you're like, we'll get back to you or not. Yeah. So to my surprise, I don't know what Jay had posted, but then I saw that you guys had the new record Growth Chart out, and I have been thoroughly excited since. So welcome back, fellas.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. It's good to be back. It's definitely good
to be back in the scene.
So yeah, 9 years since the last record, right?
Yeah.
A lot has happened. WisdomUno, you were talking about being a father, a husband.
Yeah.
The game has definitely changed for you.
Yeah, man. Big time family man. Got married, got 3 kids now. They're all small, 3, 2, and 4 months. So yeah, I know, busy household, but it's something we kind of planned. We wanted to have them, kind of close in age so they can grow up together. But yeah, man, that's pretty much both me and Jay kind of, just lived life, man. Just kind of grew as men, as husbands, as fathers, yeah, man, here we are, man. New music.
Just to give you an idea of what that looks like when we were back doing music, back during those days, Mixed Signals and all that stuff, we were roommates together. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Living the single life, I'll say.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
And so now here we are both, you know what I'm saying, like doing the family thing and raising kids and all of that. So yeah,
spitting them grown man raps.
You definitely feel that. Well, let's talk about sort of that blip and in the period there. Was there anything that particularly happened that just kind of you guys decided to take a break, or was
somebody cutting their toenails in the living room? That's what we want to know. That's what we want to know.
That was the tipping point, right?
No, that was already stuff that was happening before we started.
Yeah, Jay was always clipping his toenails in the living room, man. Like, come on, man. Buckshots, man. The buckshots.
I like to stay well groomed. But there was nothing in particular that happened per se. Like, it was just one of those things where, like, in a short span of time, we put out a lot of music and a lot of projects, and
that's true.
Some things were like, planned, some things were not planned. It kind of was just like, oh, we got these beats, or let's work on this, and the next thing we know, we got a full mixtape or something like that. So I think it was just one of those natural occurrences where you work on so much in such a short period of time, where it was like, all right, let's take a breather, let's take a step back and have a little break. Yeah. And that break just became a very extended break.
A very long hiatus. Yeah, 9-year hiatus.
And then, like you said, life happens. I ended up moving. I left Chicago, so I'm in Texas now. You know what I mean? And so like, you know, all of that stuff happened. And yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like the small break turned into a long hiatus, and you know, nothing, you know, no bad blood, no beef, no.
You guys are just literally growing.
No bottle throwing in the club. Nobody.
None of that, man. We've remained good friends, more like brothers. You know, throughout the years, we stayed in contact. We've gone to each other's weddings. You know, all that good stuff, man. That people who become, you know, more than friends. You know, that become brothers do. We basically talked every day. You know, our other good friend Lex, who was our other roommate. When we were living together, you know, the three of us have, you know, we've been friends since, you know, 2002, 2003, around there.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then we formed 1773 in 2004, and so we were basically going strong since then, you know. And I think it just came to a point where we got kind of burnt out doing it, because we did a lot in a very, like Jay said, in a very short period of time.
Right.
And you know, I think it was a much needed break, because now it feels good to be doing it again. It feels like, you know, it's fresh and new again, you know, and it's fun again. So
yeah, I was gonna ask about that, because you know, like coming back, was it just picking up right where you left off, or did it take some effort to find that fun again? Like, obviously you guys have different responsibilities now, kids and things like that. How did you make sure it stayed fun? Because I think that's like the number one thing when I listen to you guys' music is just so much fun, and the video is so much fun too. Like,
we man, you know what? It's like riding a bike with us. You know, it was literally like once we got back into it, it was on and popping. Like we just started rolling, and I'll let Wiz tell the full length of it, but basically he hit me up and was just like, "Yo, I got these beats I'm sitting on." And I was like, let's get it, you know? And the next thing I know, we're like texting each other our lyrics, like, yo, this is what I wrote. This is what I wrote. All right, cool. Like let me match and see what I can come up with. And so like, it just naturally happened. And after the first 2 or 3 songs that we wrote, we're like, yo, I think we like pretty much right where we left off, if not better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's kind of like, it happened kind of the way we started off, because I had a bunch of beats back in 2004, and I was going to work on a project with me and this producer, and that was originally going to be 1773, but for whatever reason that didn't work out. And then you know, me and Jay, we were kind of coming up through the scene as solo acts. Like we were doing a lot of shows together, but you know, he was doing the solo thing, I was doing the solo thing. But then we also shared a DJ, and so through that DJ, we kind of like connected, and we just started building from there. So that's kind of fast forwarding to like November of last year. I had a few beats that my homeboy Bombirdo, who actually produced Growth Chart, he has sent me like, I want to say maybe 2-3 years ago, maybe even longer than that. But again, like I was just living life, man, you know, doing the family thing. And I wasn't really motivated to work on music at the time. And he would hit me up. He was like, "Yo, you do anything to those beats?" He never like pressured me or rushed me or anything like that. He was cool about it. And I would tell him I got some ideas, but you know, nothing set in stone. And then just last year, around November, I believe it was, I hit Jay up. And I was like, yo, man, I got these 3 beats that I've been sitting on. Like, would you be down to, like, you know, originally I think we planned to do like a 3-song EP, just something to put out. And
Get our
Jay
feet
was like,
wet.
yeah, exactly. And Jay was like, yeah, man, send them this way, and we could do something. And once Jay heard them, he was down, and I already had ideas for 2 of the beats, and then the 3rd beat, I think we kind of like went back and forth with ideas and locked stuff down. And then from then on, that's kind of like we just hit the ground running from there. And then we kept hitting up our boy Bombirdo, and we're like, yo, man, you got any more beats you can send us? And he kept sending us batches of beats, and we would go through them and pick the ones we liked, and just kept building songs from there. And you know, and that became Growth Chart.
And keep in mind, as Wiz said, this was November of last year. So we had plenty of time to work on
No
this.
excuses.
Yeah.
I couldn't have backed out even if I wanted to.
What's great about this record, the intro, "If I Could Fly," it has a very Dilla-esque vibe. Like the drum pattern feels kind of like Dilla. And then, so did you guys kind of intentionally try to bring that nostalgic, and I don't want to say throwback feel to it, but kind of just let people know like the boom bap and that hip hop essence that people love, and it fits perfectly in your return. So was there intentionality around it, or was that just kind of in the batch that you guys got?
You know what? It's a little bit of both, to be honest, because on one side of it, Bombirdo, the producer who produced the track, like that's just kind of his vein. Like he's a crazy turntablist, crazy like just.
I was gonna ask you who did the scratches too. So he did the scratches.
He's like sick with it, and so like he is like the epitome of a hip hop DJ. You know what I'm saying? So like no matter what he does, is gonna be truly like with that hip hop sound. You know?
Right. Yeah.
For me and Wiz, we're both very like open to things and different sounds, but also we're very much about like staying true to our core, to who we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when it comes down to it, like we just want to make like good, solid hip hop music. You know what I'm saying? And what that means for us is basically it has that like nostalgic, you know, boom bap kind of feel to it, because that's what got us into hip hop. So we always kind of like, you know, kind of lean towards that and gravitate towards that sound, you know?
Yeah. There was, and kind of like to what you guys were saying as far as what brought you back, the last record, Hurdles, it kind of like hits on that. Like this is being a passionate thing that you guys are connected to, but also there's this message of like, yeah, we're not really doing this just to do it. We really do want this to get us over this hump. You know, there is a goal set in place, and we're not to just spin our wheels to keep them, you know, just to keep moving. But we do really want to reach some plateau at some point.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I think it's like it's music that it's on one side it's very personal, like, you know, we do it for us, but we also, with doing it for us, we hope that people can relate to the content, to stuff we say. You know, we like to have fun in our music. We hope people have fun, you know, when they watch us perform or hear our songs. We also like to speak on, like, you know, social things that happen, like Mirror Image is a song that, you know, we kind of break down a lot of things that have been happening for a long time now. So yeah, it's definitely something that it's for us, but it's also for those that you know, because everybody, a lot of people have things in common. Like me and Jay like a lot of the same things, and I know there's other people besides us that like a lot of the same things as far as music, you know, fashion, you know, whatever. But you know, for it to be the music for us, but also for people that, you know, can relate to it as well. That's a big part of why we make it. Yeah.
For me, all of the fun, the skill, and the camaraderie really comes together on Check Check. And for me, that was the shining record here. Talk about making that record, and maybe a little bit about how far back you and Bombirdo go.
Oh wow! Well, I'll talk about making the record, and then Wiz can jump in on that. Man, Check Check was one of those ones where, like, as soon as we heard the beat, we already knew what we had to do. You know what I mean? It's like there was no denying, like, you know, should we try and talk about this topic? Should we, you know, like, as soon as we heard the beat, it was like, yo, we just gotta have fun on some like '90s backpack, like hip hop
skills, just flip
like
skills on them
type stuff. And then also, like, for me and Wiz, like, one thing that we also keep in mind when we write is, like, even though we're kind of just now in the world starting to get back into it, but we always think about like live performances as well. And so, like, when we select beats and when we talk about song topics and things of that nature, we always think about, like, how is this going to come off on stage? Like, is this going to be boring on stage, or is this going to be like hype? Is it, you know what I'm saying? So when we heard that, you're like, yo, let's just do like. I think I just wrote 4 bars. Like I just wrote them as soon as I heard them, and then I sent them. I was like, "What you think about this?" And then coming in hot, got 4 bars. You know what I'm saying? And so we just kind of like kept building it like that, you know. And like I said, Bombay, or we call him Bombay, but Bombirdo, he did his thing on that. So it was like, we're not even gonna mess with it. We're not gonna try and make it serious. We not, you know what I mean? Like let's just do our thing on it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then as far as how long we've known Bombay, it's funny because this album kind of brings us full circle to our first album that we released. This is a self-titled project that we put out in 06. And I believe he did all the cuts on that project.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't produce anything, but he did all the cuts on there. This is when I was living in Portland, and me and Bombirdo were roommates back in Portland. And that's how we kind of met. Like I did my first tour with him and a few other guys, and he was the DJ for one of the other acts. And on the road, we kind of like build a relationship. And he was like, "Yo, if you want me to back you up during your set," because I didn't have a DJ, I was just going out performing my songs. And he was like, "If you want me to back you up on stage, I could." I was like, "Well, let's do it, man. Let's have fun, man." And from then on, we kind of built like a pretty tight relationship. And yeah, so now, like fast forward to now, it's kind of cool because me and him originally were gonna do a project back then. Like I was gonna do the rhymes, he was gonna produce all the beats, and it didn't work out. He ended up moving back to Ohio. I ended up moving back to Chicago, and then we always, we were always in contact with each other. He would come out to Chicago and we would do shows, or we would, stay in contact via text or whatever. And then just out of the blue, he just hit me up with beats, and he's like, "Yo, you still want to do a project?" And I was like, "Let's do it, man." So I've known Bombay since 04 now. Yeah, so it's been a while. Yeah.
In the next few minutes that we have left with you guys, I want to get into the blog era. We had DJ RTC from Closed Sessions, and we've been talking with a lot of artists who are sort of recollecting about their time during that period. And you guys were right in the midst of it, especially at the height of right when a lot of artists were starting to get signed and get attention during the Chicago rise. And you guys were in the midst, always performing in Wicker Park, either at the Double Doors, Sub T.
Yeah.
You can find you guys regularly out there getting shows in across the city. Well, what about that time is just so special for you as a career, and also just sort of being in the scene? Because it felt like everyone knew everybody, because everyone was on the same mission to get on and get their stuff either on Ruby Hornet, Two Dope Boys, or Big Shore. Everyone was hustling, just trying to get the next thing in. What was that moment like?
Man, let me tell you, so there are some pivotal moments in our lives, and I feel like that time frame was definitely one of them. One, because like you said, Gabe, like Chicago was just like in this crazy, weird, like music hustle at that point.
Right.
Everybody was like doing something, and it felt great. It just felt like the energy. I mean, the city had like a different energy to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then on a personal level, at least for me, and I know Wiz probably feels the same, but that time frame also allowed us to be able to like go see the world. We were able to like go to Japan and go on tour out there. Basically because of like the blog eras and things of that nature. And, we ended up working some things out and had a pretty decent deal with a record label in Japan. So, that was something that was like on my bucket list of like places to see just in life, period. You know what I mean? And so to be able to go there like numerous times just from being in that Chicago hip hop music scene, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like for me, that's always going to be like a special moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it was a great time for us, being able to do so many shows, and I think the thing that I took most away from it was being able to build a lot of like really dope relationships with a lot of other artists. The group, the Whoever's, like.
Oh yeah,
We did a show with those guys, and it was our first time ever meeting these guys. And as soon as they hit, I think we had performed before them, and then they went up last. And then as soon as they hit the stage, me and Jay just looked at each other like, yo, these guys are like a young version of us. And so as soon as they came off the stage, like we exchanged information, and like they told us, they were like, this is the first time we ever like linked up with a group that we didn't know outside of our circle. And I think that was one thing that was big for us as a group for 1773 was being able to break out of that mode, that cliquish type of mentality. We never like stuck to anything like that. We had like our crew, but we also loved to build with other artists. As long as you're dope, man. Like, why not like, you know, build and make great music together. So that was one of the biggest things that I took away from that time, which was really dope.
I got a couple quick questions that are related to fashion, and I'm gonna direct them to each of you because we've come off a couple months back. We did Style Week here on Weekend at Gabe's, and we invited some people on to get Gabe's style right. And you can see he's wearing the black polo all the way buttoned up. It's not we clearly weren't very successful on that front. But first question is for Wiz. I seen on your Instagram, man, this love for sneakers. Particularly New Balance sneakers.
Yes.
What is it about those that speaks to you, man? Because it's sort of out of left field. You get a lot these days with sort of Kawhi and the people, Joe Freshgoods working with New Balance,
right.
But it's not talked about like that.
Well, I mean, to me, New Balance and Saucony and Asics go back to the days of like golden era. You know, like. You hear Fife refer to New Balance in one of his lyrics, artifacts referring to Saucony or Asics. So I think it's kind of, for me, it kind of comes from that the golden era phase because I was into New Balance even back in the 90s. But then as far as like my love for it now, it's because a New Balance, just the quality of the shoe, you know, the quality and the style. And I'm big into like runners. And so New Balance makes some of the best running shoes as far as for lifestyle, like for styling them and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I'm a big New Balance head. I have a lot of them.
Gabe, are you taking notes, man? You don't look like you're taking notes over there.
I need a real good running shoe. I don't need a stylish running shoe. I need a comfortable running shoe.
A comfortable running shoe? I'm not the man to go to.
Yeah, I don't need like a nice looking running shoe that my feet hurt after. You know,
Jay is the workout man, and he runs, so I think he would advise you better than that.
Man, truth be told, I just use whatever like sneakers that I haven't rocked in a long time. I'm like, these are my running shoes now. You know what I'm saying?
Is that where they go to die? You know,
basically,
on your runs? Yeah.
When I work out and when I run, I'm like, all right, I haven't worn these in like 2 years. It's time to go to the gym.
My next question was for Jay. I seen you out there with the modeling and some of your fashions going absolutely great. Can you get my man's right here? Is there like
there's nothing wrong with this. Look at this.
Hey,
is there like 3 tips you can give him to just like get better?
I am model ready. I'm camera ready. I'm ready to go. Jay, just point and shoot. Well, let's go.
No, I'm telling you, Gabe, he got it already. Number one, Wiz will tell you, I've been rocking my polos and my button ups all the way up since the
all the way to the top. Yeah,
all the way to the top. You know, but I'm in Texas now, so it gets hot. So now I gotta like unbutton a little bit. But man, honestly, like I feel like everybody has their own thing. You know what I mean? And like whatever feels good to you, do it. That's like sometimes people look at me and like, yo, what the fuck is he wearing? You know what I'm saying? And like, but honestly, it's just like that's just who I am. It's what I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you know, those same things that I've worn that people are like, yo, this dude is wilding on this shit. Like, it's the same things that'll get me a modeling gig. You know what I mean? Because people will be like, oh shit, like that's different. Like, we need to get that. You know? So yeah, just do you. That's all I can say.
That's that's what Pug said. Everyone said, wear what's comfortable for you. Just don't do anything.
People just trying to be nice to you, Gabe. They're not trying to help you, bro. These people don't love you, man.
I'm a t-shirt and jeans guy, man. I'll wear like a t-shirt with a cool logo on it and jeans and some dope New Balance, and I'm good to go, man. That's me.
And a hat. Don't forget you a hat.
Oh yeah, I always rock the hat. Always.
It's all right. No, I'm doing okay with this.
You're doing all right. You're doing all right,
Gabe. You good.
Once I get into J shape, you know, like, and actually have like something to like beneath the screen here,
you could wear a button up and just leave it unbuttoned, man.
Listen, I'm really at that. I'm not at that stage yet, you know. Just the phone route. I don't want to do that.
Hey, we all a work in progress, right? We all a work in progress.
Listen,
right.
The summer's gonna get the body Dad's gonna get. That's all I'm saying. Before we let you guys go, because we have a little bit of time because our next guest is delayed. So I want to ask you about the very famous Lex L skit.
Oh man,
not from Chicago skit. Sam is very offended by this idea.
Hold on now. Don't put words in my mouth. What I said was it didn't seem very build. It didn't seem very love. But he answered my question earlier with his build and love thing. So I didn't ask that question.
Okay. So let's break it down. We see our next guest in the green room, so we're gonna get to it in just a second. But before we let you guys go, break down the from the crib and not from the crib.
Where is the line? That's what I want to know. Where's the line?
So we've had some debate about some artists who do perform in Chicago, but then they travel to the burbs where they live. But their work lives in Chicago. Yeah. And then we also have the Kevin Garnett's who spent a year in Chicago and then left. And then they don't really, people from Chicago rep for them, but I don't think we should be repping for them. I'm just saying, where is the line drawn? You're from the crib or not from the crib, based on the very famous Lex L skit from.
So I'll break it down like this, and I'm not going to speak for Lex because he might feel a little bit differently. In fact, I know
we got a little bit of flack for that one, but
yeah, we give a little leeway. So in my opinion, it kind of works in two different ways. Number one, I feel like if you live in the city, if you live in Chicago for a certain amount of years, not just 1 year, but an extended amount of time, then at some point you should be able to be like, all right, I'm from Chicago. You know what I mean? I know people that like moved to Chicago and like lived there for 2 years and were like, hey, I'm from Chicago. It's like, nah. Like me personally, I lived in one neighborhood in Chicago for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's like that kind of thing. And then also I feel like if you live outside of Chicago, like the city limits, the actual city limits, you're from the Chicago area. You know what I'm saying? So like, you could say I'm from Chicago, but really, technically, you're from the Chicago area. You know what I mean?
Chicagoland area, yeah.
Exactly. And that's the greater Chicago. But like to be from the crib, you gotta be like living in the city. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You gotta live in the city.
It's a time thing, is what I'm hearing, as much as a location thing. Those two things are equal.
Because like to Gabe's point, like Kevin Garnett, like he's not from Chicago. He's from Carolina, I believe, South Carolina.
Yeah, something like that.
He came for 1 year and it jumped the league and left.
Right, so you're not from Chicago. You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
So you got to do more than one year of KG, and then you might be able to make it. 773 J WisdomUno. The new record is out there. Growth Chart. It's on all digital streaming platforms. Go to the Bandcamp, actually put it into your life and ante up and support Chicago independent music. Thank you guys for coming on the show. Yes. Thank you for being back. I don't know how you guys are going to do shows together. You guys have figured that out, but when you do, let us know, and we'll be out there. We're all anxious to get to see live shows returning. I don't know how you guys are going to do it. You don't have to explain today. It's not due, but figure it out.
We'll work it out. We're working on it.
Thank you guys so much for giving us your time.
Word up. We appreciate you guys
for having us, man.
All right, 1773 joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's. I am so excited that they're back. I enjoyed talking with them so much.
Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe. Thanks for checking out this latest episode of Weekend at Gabe's. Click on any of the links swirling around my head and also hit the subscribe button while you're here. Thanks for checking out us here on YouTube.